for joining us here. We have Mr. Olajumoke Oluwafen. Good morning, sir. How are you doing? Sir, are you still there? All right. As soon as you join us again, just let me know. We're going straight to the stories for today. First, the legal storm around Nnamdi Kanu. A legal aid lawyer has dropped out of his case, alleging a dictatorial attitude. Now, this situation raises serious questions about legal strategy in terms of disagreements and how the case is being handled at this time. At the same time, President Bola Tinubu is abroad, speaking from Turkey, declaring support for democracy, freedom, and prosperity with a clear message. Take it to the bank. I'll be with you. For many Nigerians, that promise sounds hopeful. For others, it raises a simple question. How does that promise translate to daily reality back home? These two stories may look very different, but they intersect at one point. Trust in leadership, institutions, and the rule of law. Good morning once again, and welcome to Morning Pulse. Mr. Oladimidi, as soon as you are there, let me know, so we welcome you to the conversation. Now, we're starting with a video that has been trending. It's not the one you see of the president falling. We're going to take a look at that later, but let's have a look first of his address and his speech in Turkey, and then we'll come back to the studio.
My dear brother, President Erdogan of Turkey, I want to say on behalf of Nigeria, the Federal Republic, thank you and the people of Turkey, the government, the reception, the openness, the warmness that you've accorded myself and the delegation since we got here. And thank you for listening here, willing to collaborate, willing to help, willing to work together to promote freedom, stability, and prosperity, shared prosperity across the world. What is very important to the two countries being discussed? Trade, business, avoidance of taxation, no restrictions, lowering a given opportunity to those who are ready to learn, work, and prosper. How do we build an inclusive economy together? That's what we discuss. And I count on you to get everybody, vulnerable people in particular, involved in our economies. How do we develop this country, give peace and stability to the world, and particularly the necessary peace and stability of the continent of Africa? Nigeria is the heart of that country and is surrounded by instabilities, challenges. We've discussed that. We've discussed effort at terrorism, discussed how we could defeat elements of destabilization, banditry, and horror. We will work together to achieve that. I thank you, my brother. Sincerely, your commitment to democracy, freedom, and development of a very, very needy people, the vulnerable around the world, is commendable. Your effort in Somalia is noted, well noted. and I count on you, take it to the bank. You can bet on me that I will be there with you for democracy, freedom, and prosperity. So, thank you.
Now we've seen that video. Joining us again via Zoom, we have Mr. Oladimiji Oluwafemi. Good morning, sir, and welcome to the show.
Good morning, Sharon. Good morning, Ifeoma, and thank you for having me this morning.
All right. Sure. Now, I'm going to start off with you. That video we just watched is of the president in Turkey addressing during a press conference, and he made some interesting speeches, but this one about democracy is something that I want us to discuss on. Why is the president making a speech about democracy in a faraway country in Turkey?
There is a saying in my language. Thank you, first of all, for that question. And good morning to Nigerians that are watching us.
Mr. Oladimiji. Great. All right. Now, I'm going to ask you the same question.
All right. I'll first of all start off with, can somebody tell the president to sit down in Nigeria for once? Since 2025,
all right,
it has been recorded.
Oh, okay, Mr. Oladimiji, you're back. We lost you for a bit.
Since 2025, he has made about 190 trips, according to Mr. Peter Obi, and this is just 2025. We've not added 2023, 2024. The president have traveled to France, he has traveled to US, he has traveled to UK, he has traveled to UAE, at least in 2023 that he became the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and he made a deal with them, he signed investment with them. And up to today, we are yet to see the fruition of that deal he signed with them. And then this 2026, yes, he traveled again to UAE. Can somebody please tell him that we really want to see those trips he has been going to for 190 days since 2025. Can we see the result of that trip? That is number one. And then number two is quite ironic how on the 1st of January 2026, the president was not in the country to address the insecurity in the country. He was not in the country to welcome Nigerians into a new year, 2026, that he said there will be zero tolerance to insecurity in Nigeria. Now he went to a different land to address Nigeria. As if that was not enough, he is now in Turkey and he's talking about democracy, making commitments to uphold the democracy of another nation. But Nigeria here, we are practicing a demonstration of grace. It doesn't really make sense to me.
The demonstration of grace had me.
Yeah, and there was another thing he said. He said he's going to, that the president of Turkey should take it to the bank, that he is going to ensure that there is peace and stability in the country, in Turkey, that he will work in alliance to him to ensure that there is democracy, peace, and stability. But there was something that he equally said in that statement. He said that there is instability in Nigeria, and for once, the president agreed that there is instability in Nigeria. I thought he said the reforms he's making is finally working. Why is he now saying that there is instability in Nigeria? The moment Nigerians start realizing that these people take us for a fool, the moment they start realizing that the president does not even care about them, that he's just all about traveling, I feel like his traveling is more like a bucket list that he wants to take for, all the times that he is in seats, and not even for the benefit, the benefit of Nigerians.
And Mr. Oladimiji, can you hear me clearly now?
Yes, I can. Can you hear me?
Yes, finally. Now, the question that I'm still asking is what I want you to just give your take on. Why do you think the president is making this democracy speech in Turkey? And that statement saying that when it concerns democracy, concerns prosperity, that he's going to stand with Turkey and you can take that to the bank. What really does that mean for us?
I can first of all say that an impotent man describes his sons from a faraway distance. An impotent man's child is never within; is always far away. So when if Tinubu goes out, goes as far as Turkey to speak, so keenly about democracy, while at home, he hoodwinks, his subordinates arrest, imprison decent voices, and also shoot at protesters with canisters and whatnot, arrest protesters, lock them up here at home. And you go out to Turkey to describe, to speak to democracy. You see, we are characterized with hypocrisy.
Wow.
In Nigeria. That is just it. Hypocritical in this country. And it stems from leadership. It stems from leadership. When every critic is perceived as antagonism, as enmity, instead of, being viewed as constructive advice for you to do better, then we're in problem. So you go as far as Turkey, all right, to go speak to the Turkians that you're going to join the president of Turkey in fostering and stabilizing democracy in Turkey. And I can't make nothing of that statement. I think it's a statement from off the air, just an impulse.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's just impulse statement because there is no... It's like making a subordinate phrase, a subordinate phrase, and not completing it with an independent phrase that will make it make sense to us.
So it's not a complete sentence even. Now, something that I want to understand is he's in Turkey now. Here, I want to know, who do you think is his audience? Who is he trying to address? Is it Nigerians at Turkey? Or the delegates?
He's addressing both countries.
Both countries
both
now.
Nigeria,
Okay,
yes,
so both Nigeria.
Turkey, yes.
So addressing Turkey, but first off, there's something I don't understand. I understand that Nigeria as a nation, we need to collaborate with other nations. Do you think it's symbolic that he's collaborating with Turkey, with the way and manner they rule? They rule their government, even the religion they practice.
He's not even collaborating with them. He's just commending the president of Turkey for his effort in upholding democracy.
No, he is collaborating with them. He said they were collaborating.
He said, so why are we not seeing democracy being practiced in Nigeria?
Do you think that democracy is being practiced in Turkey first?
I think so. I think so. Because I'm not in Turkey, but I feel it's being practiced. And why would he raise it up if he's not practiced in Turkey? He commended the president for holding democracy in Turkey. So they have free and fair elections. They have people can critique the government constructively, and the government will put that into cognizance and see if they can maybe change the policies in a way that would be acceptable by the people. But in Nigeria here, the president does not care. Whatever he's head bent on, or whatever policy he comes up with, he goes through with it without minding if Nigerians are comfortable with that practice. And it doesn't really make sense, because when you keep on screaming democracy in Nigeria and outside Nigeria, and your country is not practicing democracy, it means that you are kind of a hypocrite. Let me just put it that way. So if you're trying to state something or say something, I think maybe you should start by living or leading by example before going to commend other people. Or even if you're commending other people, learn from them.
I like that, learn from them. Now, so far, Mr. Oladimeji, do you think that Tinubu's action has collaborated in any way or sense or form with the speech that he gave in Turkey as regards democracy?
I think that is way outside the objective Tinubu went to Turkey for. Because if we go back in time and visit all of his travels and the success attached, you would search far and long, and you won't get legitimate and substantial results from those visits. So this is also one of them. Most importantly, one thing I know that Tinubu is doing is just seeking legitimacy. And speaking of collaboration, it spikes me right now. Remember, when you mentioned the word collaboration, because Gumi was in Turkey a few months ago, last year, and now we are fraternizing with Turkey. What is that relationship? I don't know. There is, I don't know the comparative advantage that, so much be fascinating enough to draw these two countries suddenly together right now to begin to align in comparative, align in, what they call it, in treaties agreement. Because what I learned that one of the things I learned he went for is for weapon, bilateral relationship and whatnot, one of those things for a defense treaty rather. So in all of this, I'm concerned for my country anyways, because only thing I know Tinubu is out there for is his own legitimacy. And I am concerned for the legitimacy of my own sovereignty. The protection of my own sovereignty, so that one who seeks legitimacy don't, expose the sovereignty of my country to other countries in the name and in search for his own legitimacy. And desperation can draw one to that page.
That's where I was coming from when I talked about collaboration. Right now, I like that you brought that up, mentioning Gumi as well, going prior to Turkey, and now we're seeing the president in Turkey as well, and he mentioned collaboration. Now, that collaboration is something that, like you said, can be suspicious in a way. But I have another question as regards this sudden friendship. I won't call it sudden, but just all of a sudden, right? We're seeing Turkey in the picture from nowhere. How do you think this statement, right, from the president is going to, what signal is this going to send to investors, voters, and political allies?
Which statement exactly? Is it
the statement, yes, and every other thing that he said in that speech?
I think I feel like they would make caricature and mockery of that statement, because most of them have come down in Nigeria. There are industries that have come down to Nigeria to invest in Nigeria, and at the end of the day, they have to pull back that investment. I think South Africa is one of those countries that have invested in Nigeria and they pulled back. So listening to the president of the country talking about democracy and talking about maybe inclusivity, it looks like a joke to them, because they already know what the deal in Nigeria is, and it goes a long way to really insult some Nigerians that are in Nigeria. I think, like I always say, Nigerians actually deserve better, because there are a lot of still private individuals or private firms in Nigeria that is still having ties, that close relationship with investors outside country, and people could actually see that, okay, there are a lot of people in Nigeria that are really willing to work hand in hand with other communities to improve maybe their firm and not Nigeria as a whole. So it's really looking like a joke for me. If I should talk for them, it's really looking like a joke.
Okay, now I like that we're going to just end it right there as we just see what happens next with this Turkey collaboration. But we're moving over to Sokoto. Now we're seeing that the legal aid lawyer has dropped Kanu's case, and he has alleged, dictatorial attitude on the part of Nnamdi Kanu. And just to give a little backstory so we understand what is going on here. Now we're seeing that following the withdrawal, the Federal High Court in Abuja struck out a motion filed by Nnamdi Kanu seeking his transfer from the Sokoto Correctional Center to another custodial facility closer to FCT.
and that was struck out, right? The court did not uphold that motion. But even after that, we're now seeing that a lawyer from his legal aid counsel has said he's no longer going to work and represent Nnamdi Kanu because Nnamdi Kanu, according to him, has been trying to tell his legal aid what to do, what to say, even going as far as writing out what they should say while in court. He has been trying to tell them how to, in layman's terms, how to do their job. And for this reason, the lawyer has left the case, right? And then I'm going to ask you this question, Mr. Oladimeji. What is this, or what message do you think this is passing? We're not even talking about the fact that his motion to be transferred to another prison has been struck out, but just the legal aid counsel of Mr. Nnamdi Kanu. How is it looking like right now?
Well, right now, for me, Sharon, I think the fault is from the desk of Nnamdi Kanu's lawyers. I don't know if it's in collaboration with such show, but I don't know who else is observing. But these lawyers would rather seek social media validation and trends, and rather than visit and attend critically to the substance of these cases. That is what led Nnamdi Kanu in the first place to where we are today. Now, going from here, discussing the issues of transfer of correctional from one correctional facility to another. I don't know if there is anywhere, but as far as I am concerned, there is no law that gives an inmate that right to request for such and be granted outside discretion of the government.
Wow.
If there is no threat to your life. If there is no threat to his life that can be substantiated, if there is no issue of some persons plotting to hack him down within that place, then it remains at the discretion of the federal government either to yield to the request for transfer or to deny it.
But Mr. Oladimeji, he has complained before because of the healthcare system in the correctional center where he was before.
That's why I was very busy. I was very particular about the language I used. I said that can be substantiated.
Okay. Because they took it to court, and the doctors that the government used said that there was indeed no threat to his health. And then my question to you, Ifoma, is, because Mr. Oladimeji now is saying that the fault is from his legal aid counsels, and they've been trying to just gather social media attention to this particular case. First of all, do you agree to that? And secondly, as well, with his case being his motion to be transferred to another correctional facility, what is your take on that from the aspect of Nnamdi Kanu? Because what Mr. Oladimeji is saying, that we've not seen an inmate come out to request that they should or detect where they will be imprisoned. What can you think is the state of mind of Nnamdi Kanu making that request?
Okay, we don't know what he's literally going through at that correctional center, which could be the reason why he asks for transfer to a different correctional center. I think maybe we need to hear from him, or maybe, I don't know, maybe his legal aides could actually brief the media or brief Nigerians what is going on there. But I cannot really speak for him because I don't know, like I said, what is going on with him. But let me just talk briefly on the legal aid resigning or saying that he's no longer interested in the case. This happened last year. Yeah, somewhere last year, middle of last year, where he sacked his legal representative and saying that he would be the one to represent himself, and how the court or some lawyers advised him against that. That, I mean, he needs to be represented by a lawyer, because I mean, yes, the fact that he is intelligent, but he might not really know the nitty-gritty of the case that is being presented to the court. So it's not something that he needs to, do himself. So I think there is something that I got from that place, which is part of arrogance. I think in as much as you are intelligent, in as much as, I mean, there are a lot of cases on your table, you need legal advice. You understand? This is a case that shouldn't be treated like a normal case, but I still feel his pain, that there are a lot of criminals that are watching the walls of Nigerians freely, that Nigerians did not sentence those people to life imprisonment. They chose to sentence him to life imprisonment, but that's not really what we are talking about. I think if we should toe the path of law, let's follow the path of law constitutionally, which is seeking a legal representation. So I don't really know what problem he had with his legal aid that made the man to withdraw. Maybe he'll still need to tell Nigerians what really happened.
The legal aid is
we've heard from his own part.
That's not the first legal aid that would be resigning.
True.
Yeah, but we've heard from the legal aid part. We've not heard from Nnamdi Kalu's part. So maybe we can actually draw a conclusion or judge on the matter when we hear two sides of the story.
And what would this withdrawal have on Nnamdi Kanu's legal aid, right? Because like you said, Mr. Oladimiji, this is not the first lawyer that has withdrawn from his legal counsel. How do you think this would affect his legal aid counsel in general?
Can you take that question again, Sharon? The network
okay.
When you were asking.
No problem. I'm asking, right? How do you think that this particular withdrawal do you think it would weaken Kanu's legal counsel? Like you said, this is not the first lawyer that will be withdrawing from his legal counsel. So how do you think it would affect it generally?
Yeah, perception is reality, Sharon. Perception is reality. It was perception that led to the first incarceration in the first place, that first sentence. Wow. You remember that he had a very good professional counsel before, and that team resigned because of something we don't know about, like, as Ifeoma said. But then, the other one that resigned came out to explain that, the other one that took over was seeking social media judgment, public sympathy, abandoning, as I said earlier, the substance of the case. And if I might just pointed out, this is a legal case. It is not a moral situation. So you must still present your case. And what did Kanu do when he was expected to mount his defense? To put up his defense, he refused. Even within the window he was given to, attend to his defense. Instead, the lawyers were busy cooking up narratives on social media. Remember, we had this section here, where we discussed the protest they had.
Yeah.
And we're discussing whether it was, ultra bias of the law or not. So, so many things have been modeled up in this process. And to sort it out, the legal team that Kanu retains must be pivot to it. Currently, I do not see this current team, driving home his point or getting him any justice. Let me use another scratch that. Getting him any value to favor him.
That is sad.
In the short run or even in the long run.
All right. Now, in a minute, as we get closer, as we wrap up the conversation, what do you think this particular situation and news how do you think it would impact the public's perception of this particular case?
This case is quite sensitive, most especially in the Southeast. how will it impact the public? I think it's still that same sympathy that the lawyers have been trying to push to the social media. Is still going to cause a revolt, an uproar, and people not really knowing the nitty-gritty, people not really knowing what is going on, in the law courts. So I think it's still the same empathy or sympathy that is going to drive when it comes to the people and the media, but people don't know exactly what's going on, and I wish people could actually understand that. Number one, he chose to defend himself. Number two, that the people that he now chose or he later chose to represent him have now withdrawn from representing him, and which says a lot about his character. But a lot of people are not going to pay attention to that because, like I said earlier, this is a sensitive case. Everybody's just looking at that secession and that IPOP thing. You understand? So they are not really going to pay attention to the main bone of contention.
The undertone. And Mr. Ladmidi, finally, how do you think with the withdrawal of his legal counsel now, how do you think this would affect the speed and direction of this particular case?
No, the plea remains. Barrack go, a soldier go, soldier come, the barracks remain. The case remains.
Okay.
It is just legal counsel retention that matters. Once he gets, once he can retain a legal counsel, the case will kick off again.
Okay. All right. So now I think we're going to be waiting and looking forward to what will be Nnamdi Kanu's family's response to this and how they would go about ensuring that they retain their legal counsel. But for the conversation today, this is where we're going to call it a wrap. Thank you, Mr. Ladmidi, for joining us on the conversation today. Always a pleasure. And of course, to you, Ifomoji, for joining me on the conversation today. And of course, our VIP viewers, if this is your first time of watching, this is Morning Pulse on Active Citizens. If you're yet to subscribe to our channel, this will be the best time to do that. Please subscribe and follow us at Active Citizens across all media. You can find me as well across all social media at Sharon Ednem Chuku. And what about you?
You can find me in the studio today.
No wahala. And to you, Mr. Ladmidi, where can they find you?
Well, I'm always here in the studio and on X.
Of course. At
oh, sorry. Sorry about that.
No problem, no problem. Now, till we see you later this afternoon, do have a good morning.